This video is designed for you to get your first agency client in under 2 weeks flat. I know I can do this for you because I hopped on a call with Samuel here, as you can see on the screen. And after that call, he got his first agency client as a complete beginner, by the way, in under 4 days. So if this guy can do it in under 4 days, you can at least do this in under 2 weeks. If you don't know me, I was able to scale my agency from the real estate niche to 40 grand a month. And I was able, with that agency, my second agency, to get my first client in under 2 weeks as well. And there's a 5-step system here, as you can see. But if your dopamine receptors are fried, and you're scrolling reels all day, this might not be the video for you. This is completely unedited. It's made for agency owners. And if you can't pay attention for 10 to 20 minutes or so on how to actually make money ASAP with your agency, you can just click away. But if you're actually still here and you want to make money with your agency, we can get into things because you're going to actually get your clients really, really quick. The first thing you need to know when it comes to scaling an agency very quickly is you have to build your knowledge of your specific niche in that industry very quickly as well. And what this means is diving into things like, what are the main problems your target audience complains about? What do they not like? What do they not like about other agencies as well? So you can dive into forums, blogs, and communities. This is what I did when I started my agency. And I basically just researched for a week straight, like an hour a day, into the industry because I didn't know what any of the terms meant that they were using on sales calls and cold calls. So it's unbelievably necessary for you to go through this stuff. What experience shaped who they are today? They might be in their 50s, they might be in the 60s, they might not know how our system works, and we have to explain it to them very simply. What's unique about your agency that solves their problems? So these are just some examples of questions, but you should at least go on like ChatGPT or go on the internet, search out all the questions that you actually want to know about when you're on a sales call, so you're not looking stupid on a sales call when they ask you, what does this mean? Or when you have a conversation with them. Next thing is to reach your first 6 figures with an agency. It's actually quite simple, and people make it out to be more complicated than it actually is, but it's one niche of people that you can help, as we just talked about, in researching that niche. So one niche. Secondly, one channel to reach out to them to book your sales calls to start off. If you need more volume of sales calls next few weeks or months, you can add in a channel, but to start off, master one, get really good at one, and you can probably get 5 to 10 sales calls a day off of one channel, one service you can provide to solve a problem of theirs. So they might not know how to generate leads consistently or get deals consistently through paid advertising. That's where you come in. Second thing that's unbelievably important, before getting to the good stuff, which is calculating all this stuff exactly what you need to do day to day. A sale is made on a bridge of trust. What does that mean? They actually have to trust you. You're a stranger on the internet they've never met before. You call them up maybe on a cold call, and you book a sales call 4 days later, and next thing they're getting pitched on a 1K setup fee, and you want to take 20% commission on the sales, and they've never met you. They don't know who you are. So we have to have some systems in place for getting them to trust us. And the most obvious way to get people to trust us is case studies or testimonials. But if you're watching this video, you're probably starting an agency or trying to scale an agency where you might not have many case studies or testimonials. That's completely fine, because I've worked with tons of agency owners without case studies, testimonials, and we've developed a system to actually make this work, as I did when I was building my agency. Number one, you need to rely on a guarantee or promise working with these people. And no, the guarantee doesn't have to be absolutely something insane where you're promising $1 million in 3 months. It just has to be some tangible result that they like. And in an ideal scenario, it would be at least breaking even on their investment with you as a guarantee. So it's a low ball guarantee where we say, we have a guarantee where we're going to promise you 3 deals, as an example, in 4 months. And if that doesn't happen, we're going to have a risk reversal, which we're going to get into in a second. But you have to have a tangible promise. Or, again, it's a stranger over the internet. They have to sign a contract with you to actually trust you, to say you're actually going to execute on this thing. Number 2, unbelievably low risk offers. So we have to have a pay and results offer. You cannot go up to people charging 4K setup fee without any case studies yet. You need something where you get some money up front for the commitment, but then when you get them results, the incentives are aligned. What that means is when they make money, you make money. When they see the incentives being aligned, when they're making money, you're making money, they actually trust you because, again, you don't make money unless they make money. So it just makes logical sense. Why would this person be doing it if he's just going to scam me? Because it's paying results. When I get results, he's getting paid. So he's incentivized to get me results. And this is the key component of a irresistible offer. This is kind of the number one marketing hack I've probably seen on sales calls and getting people to book sales calls. It's what we call worst case, best case proposal. You want to give them 2 options and say on a sales call when they're trying to sign up with you or they're considering signing up with you, worst case, you get a full refund. Or I work for free and I'll pay your ad spend until you get X results. Number 3 as an option, a delayed payment to me until you get your promised results. We're basically saying, worst case scenario, if I don't get you this, what's going to happen? It's a complete risk reversal. I just gave you 3 examples of risk reversals. I bolded the full refund. This is by far the strongest risk reversal, which means they just get the money back they paid you as a setup fee, or it could be ad spend if you're that confident, but at least send back the money in the setup fee if you don't get the promised outcome for them. Because basically, you create worst case, you just get your money back, and best case, you get everything as promised, and you get X results in Y time frame. You sit back and let us manage everything. And all you need to do is provide a great service for your clients. And you are going to get a 5x, 10x ROI with your investment with us if you sign up. Okay, so if you create a worst case that's literally them staying the exact same scenario, they're not losing 10 grand, then that's a really good worst case from the program. And if you at least try your hardest on Facebook ads or Google ads, whatever your platform is, you will get them good results if you're a hustler and you learn this stuff very quickly. Number 3. Actual calculation walkthrough. So now we're getting into the tangible stuff of you executing day to day on X thing to get Y result in getting your first few clients in the first few weeks. The number 1 outreach method to start off without spending thousands of dollars on paid ads for yourself and wasting all that money or setting up a cold email system that takes 2 weeks for domains to warm up. If you want to get bookings now, cold calls is straightforward advice that completely still works. 1 to 2% appointment booking rate on cold calls if you are a horrible cold caller. So if you're a bad cold caller and the business has a listed phone number on Google Maps or whatever platform you're scraping leads from, in that case, you should get at least a 1 to 2% appointment booking rate. No matter the accent, no matter the tonality, 1 to 2% should be a minimum. If you're a really good cold caller, we should be looking up 3 to 4% if you're really good, but that's going to take a few weeks for you to get decent at cold calling. What happens from these numbers is at least 1 to 2 sales calls per weekday booked if you're doing 100 cold calls. What that means is if you're calling every weekday, you're at least getting 5 to 10 appointments / week. This is an ideal scenario. This is really what happens when you actually put in the inputs trying to scale your agency. If you're, let's say, not the best at sales yet, which in a second I'm going to be telling you how to make your sales calls significantly easier, you should at least have a 10% close rate on the sales calls that you take. This is a minimum. If you're not closing at 10%, there's something horrendously wrong with your sales system. And if you book 10 sales calls in the week and you get a 2% ABR, you're going to close your client the first week. This is if they're actually at a 10% close rate, which is great. And if not, you can close them within 2 weeks. But really, you can do what Samuel did above and put in 100 cold calls a day for 5 days straight, take the sales calls, get feedback on how your sales calls went, and eventually you will close one, hopefully at 10% of people showing up. What that means is the client in the first week. The next thing is, I just need to put this in here because you guys now have 90% of the strategy other than the sales call stuff. We'll get into the second. This is what you need to do to close clients. What's likely going to happen if I didn't tell you this stuff here is you're going to go, I have this strategy, but I'm just too lazy to execute on it. Some of you at least. You're going to go, I don't want to do the cold calls. I'm comfortable where I am. And I'm going to call 50 people, and you call 50 people, but then you stop because you're getting uncomfortable. It's the first time of you doing this thing, and you don't want to continue. This is what happens all the time with beginners because they've never done it before. It's uncomfortable. So I'm going to give you some strategies now so you can actually make the damn calls and get your clients. It's actually that simple. And what you need to do firstly is just remind yourself the cost of inaction. So if I don't actually make these calls and try to grow my agency, what am I running away from? What is a situation I don't want happening? Like disappointing everybody around me because I'm not an entrepreneur anymore. Like if I set out and told everybody around me I'm an entrepreneur, I didn't make the cold calls and you just stopped after 2 weeks, what? You're going to be an embarrassment. So think about that before you do cold calls and think about the worst possible scenario. It's going to motivate you to do cold calls way more and actually put in the inputs. Secondly, is what I call reward stacking, is don't allow yourself to do X rewarding thing that you like doing, whatever habit you have that is not that productive, but you like doing it and you want to keep doing it. Just don't allow yourself to do that thing until all of your outreach is done. As a general principle, this works out very well because you still have the reward, but you just do the hard thing first and you get the rewarding thing after, and your brain starts to train itself so you do the hard stuff first and you just get the rewarding stuff. It's a dopamine reward system. Number 3 is find a partner for accountability. I had a bunch of these partners, not in the business, but friends that I'd hold them accountable. They'd hold me accountable when I was doing the cold calls for my agency. I hated it, but I knew I had to do it because I wanted this goal of scaling the agency, and all the people around me were holding me accountable to doing the numbers of the cold calls in my agency. So if you don't have internal accountability and you want to quit after 50 cold calls, get a circle of people around you, or at least one, where he or her is holding you accountable to do X thing every single day, like cold calling. So you don't want to look like a disappointment, or you don't want to be embarrassed because all the people around you are like, why isn't Joe doing his calls? Like, they should be texting. Why isn't Joe doing his calls? If they're good friends, if they're actually wanting you to succeed, they should be doing that. So that's a really good tip I've found, at least when I'm trying to do hard things I don't want to do. Lastly, how to close sales calls if you suck at sales. Before my agency, I never sold anything. I was a restaurant waiter. I didn't know what a sales system was. I was just taking orders of food. So I had to quickly learn how to actually sell things. And this is the way I was able to actually close at a high percentage while having nearly zero sales skills and just like a sales script. If you want more in-depth stuff with what I'm about to tell you here, I have a 22-minute video on building a pre-call video. I'm going to drop it in the description. You can watch it after this video if you like. But one of the most important parts of a pre-call video is pre-handling your lack of experience. So what a pre-call video is when people book a sales call with you, with your agency, you send them a 6 to 12 minute video walking them through exactly what you do and exactly what they're going to get for this call and joining the program. You should nearly reveal everything about what you do except the price, and just sell them on the price on the sales call. But by far, the most important part of a pre-call video is this slide right here as a beginner. Because the number one objection you're going to get when you have no case studies ever with your agency, you've never delivered a service for anybody yet, is I'm just going to go with a big company because they have 500 case studies on their website. You have 0. Okay? So we need to actually remember this when we're selling, because it's a valid point. Why would they go with a small company if they can go with a trustworthy company who's done this before? This is how you get around that. This is what we call me versus a big company slide in the pre-call video. It basically pre-handles the objection of them on the sales call going, I'm just going to work with a big company. What we say is, big company, I'm just going to hand you over to a VA in the Philippines. So you're not even dealing with the person you signed up with. On the other hand, me, you are my biggest priority. The future of my business literally depends on you getting amazing results from this. And I'm the one who's actually going to be working on your account. So it's not like you're going to be handed off to 5 other people and you're not even talking to me anymore. You're going to be talking to me and me only. I'm running everything with this system. And you can say something niche specific. So as an example, this guy said cougar paws, which basically is a niche term for his specific niche of saying, I've been in your shoes before, because he was actually working in this niche before he started an agency in this niche. So it's very important to say, I am the only one working on this, and you getting amazing results is actually setting up my business to succeed. So I need to get you amazing results. So that's very important and very helpful for me, because I didn't know sales. So I needed to pre-handle things in a video where I can actually rehearse it and script everything out and get them to trust me without actually being on an hour and a half long sales call, actually handling objections. And the last part here is basically what I call the pre-handling cycle in pre-call videos. I've recorded my pre-call video, like I've just told you here, anywhere from 4 to 6 times, depending on the company I've been in. I think probably this company I'm running, Leverage Acquisition, I've recorded it probably 5 times so far. It's because of this thing. When I get objections on sales calls, I make a new pre-call video with the new objections in it. So basically taking sales calls, noting down objections, and making pre-call videos. And we just keep recording pre-call videos until we have an amazing pre-call video handling all objections. So your first pre-call video might be mediocre. A few after that, it's going to be amazing, because you've taken so many objections from people on sales calls. So you can just pre-handle everything at the end of the pre-call video, and they get on the call and they're ready to buy. I've actually had people like on 20, 25-minute sales calls because they just love the pre-call video so much. They're like, I understand what you do. Yeah, it completely makes sense. And they actually sign. Maybe 1 or 2 objections, and then that's it. So it's very important. If you implement everything in here, you are going to get amazing results with your agency. It's just a matter of time. If you put in the inputs, I'm telling you on this video, you will get a client in the next few weeks with your agency. And I really hope that happens. I hope you enjoyed. If you want to work with me in scaling your agency, there's a link in the description. and just check out the video. It's a video completely designed to sell you something, but if it sounds interesting at all, watch that. I've recorded that 5 times, so maybe you can take some principles away from it. Watch that video, you can book a call with me if you'd like. If not, no problem. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.